Hi folks, and welcome to this episode of Michael's Backyard Marine. I'm Michael, and this video is sponsored by SEI Marine Products. Don't be afraid to follow the links in the description below to find a wealth of products for your marine applications. I'm going to cover one or two products in this video, and this is going to involve the SE106 outdrive. So first and foremost, what we got to do is we got to go drag what I call the 1976 Starcraft, the OG, the original gangster of boats in the fleet of boats here at the Backyard Marina. This is the boat that started it all. This is the boat that I bought, did my first video on, changing the outdrive gear oil. This video, we're going to be changing the entire outdrive, and I'm going to go over some of the reasons why I'm doing it, and we're going to look at some of the things that are going on the current outdrive that has prompted me to make this move to SEI. So stay tuned. Let's go out and get the boat and get her backed up here to the shop, and then we'll be inside the shop unboxing a brand new SE106 outdrive and getting it prepared to go on the boat. And I'll go through yeah, those are the words I'm going to use. I'm going to show you what you have to do when you get it out of the box and all the preparation you need to do to install this on your boat. And it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward. I've been excited for this video for a little bit of time now, and we're going to get after it. So stay tuned and check these guys out. We brought it out from underneath the shed, and I don't pull it out too far, but I know I can always pull it out this far because I currently have the outdrive trimmed down. And if I go bouncing across my yard and back it up, my lower skeg there will cut a furrow through the yard, and that's not good for it or the yard. I'm more worried about this than I am the yard, believe you me. So we're gonna go grab the battery, we'll throw the battery in, we'll trim it up, and then we'll move it around. Yeah, we'll talk about some future projects that are going to follow this video probably pretty much immediately on the trim part, because that's one of the things I've had with this boat for a long time is the trim will not hold things up. When I'm in the water, it won't hold trim in the water. It's just the valves and everything. You know, this is 1976. I'll let you do the math on the years. So this is an old joker, but she still runs great. I've spent a lot of time playing around with it. Spent a lot of hours on the water with it, and it has performed flawlessly. And the old Mercruiser 120 horse kicks butt, I'll tell you that. Now this has had some upgrades, obviously. We've rebuilt the carburetor, we put electronic conditioner on it, we've done a flamethrower coil on it. We've got a lot of things that make this thing run right. Now we're gonna put the finishing touches on it. Me and SEI Marine are going to get after it. Woo, woo, woo. Good times, I'm telling you what. We'll get the battery and we'll be right back, trim this up and get her backed up to the shop. Now for those of you that think battery maintenance isn't important when it comes to keeping a battery charged, I've got a battery here from 4 of 2019. This is almost 4 next month of 2023. So this battery is going to be officially 4 years old. I just tested it with my tester because every winter I pull it and I put it on my NoCo Genius charger to maintain it throughout the winter, and it checked at 95% good, 795% cold cranking amps on an 800 cold cranking amp battery. That tells me everything I'm doing is right. All right. Now we're going to get down here and drop it in. Away we go. All right, full tilt boogie. Now what we got here with this old 1976 Starcraft is a numbers matching boat. It's got the original hull, original steering wheel, original gauges, original outdrive. not so original kicker. And you're thinking, Michael, if you go and change this out drive, it won't be numbers matching. And that boat's, you know, not gonna be worth as much. I can't keep a straight face, guys. You know, numbers matching on a vintage automobile means something. Numbers matching on a boat don't mean jack diddly squat. That's all there is to it. So modify your boat however you will. And I'm gonna decide to take off this original Mercruiser. Ooh, yeah. I gotta look up. I can't remember if this is an Alpha 1, pre-Alpha. I don't remember. I'll look it up, but I will have that information in this video. And but I talked to the guys out there at SEI Marine Products, and they informed me. They are very knowledgeable people, and they were able to tell me, yeah, that should be this, should be this, should be this because of the year. Because all boats, keep in mind, whether it's a Bayliner, Starcraft, Rinker, Cobalt, all these boats of all these different years, they didn't make their own stuff. Mercruiser put the engine in it. Mercruiser had the outdrive to put on it. And they manufacture certain outdrives for certain years and certain horsepowers, right? So it's easy enough to say, I've got a 1976 with a 120 horse inboard outboard, you know, 120 horse Mercruiser, and I need an outdrive for it. And they can tell you kind of what, you tell them what size boat it's on, like this is an 18 footer. And they go, most likely, 100% good chance is you have this particular outdrive with this particular ratio, and the gear ratio is kind of important. There are a few different ratios that you can buy of these outdrives. They also have them available, I think, in left-hand drive versus right-hand drive. 99% of your boats with a single, you know, single output here are a right-hand drive. So that means what does that mean? You asking the question? That's a good question. It means when you look at it from behind, over here. Why are you looking that way? Look over here. So what that'll mean is that if you look at the rear of the outdrive and you look at this prop, and this prop sheds water in this direction, right? Which means it makes the boat go that way when it rotates this way. And that would be right-hand steer, or right-hand steer. That'd be a right-hand drive, spinning to the right. The other one would be spinning this way, it would be left-hand. If you had dual, most generally when they have dual outdrives and dual engines, one's a right-hand spin, one's a left-hand spin. Now, granted, they don't make left-hand spin engines. They have gearboxes that change the spin direction, just like you have forward and reverse. They can have those, you know, configured to do such. I'm 99% positive that's what it is, but if you guys know of anything different, leave your comments down below. That's what this channel is all about. Figuring out facts, education. You educate me as well as I educate you. So let's get this backed up to the shop, and then the next step will be to not remove this just yet. We got to get the other one prepared to move, and I'm going to show you some tricks to help you manage getting this one off and your new one on with one person. Because right now, this is hard to do by yourself. I've done it many a times by myself. This one has a hook on the top. The old ones have a lot of hooks on the top here, which is awesome for being able to hang a cherry picker on it and get it off. I'm going to show you another way to do it that does not involve a cherry picker, where you can actually roll it gently into place. And there'll be multiple ways you can do this, and you can make something out of wood. But I'm going to make some, I've got something already made called a motorcycle lift. It's also been used as a training jack. It's also been used as a truck lift. It's small, but I'm going to show you a way, I'm going to modify it to be able to put one of these on and off. All right, let's get into the shop. Let's get this up to the shop, and then let's get into the shop and start prepping that new SEI 106 or SE106. And SE stands for Stern Drive Engineering. But their catalog, I ain't kidding you, is that thick, and they've got literally thousands of different things you can buy out of that catalog for all kinds of boat, you know, engine and outboard accessories. All right, keep on moving. All right, we got her backed up here in the shop. We got her part way in. I'm gonna back it in further when I get ready to install the outdrive, but right now, I just, you know, making sure I'm lined up so I can get in here, because I can't get the whole boat in my shop right now. There's just too much stuff in here. I need more space, but that's okay. I'll always work with what I got. And we're going to move on to the brand new part, and that's the exciting stuff. I'm so excited to get this assembled, oiled up, and on the back of this boat and make her look shiny and new again. All right, we're back in the shop. We're ready to start assembling our SE106 stern drive. This thing is beautifully packed. This got the upper gearbox and the lower gearbox comes in 2 big boxes. And those boxes have foam that is, you could drop this thing from an airplane and I don't think damage would occur. It's just that well packed. I spared you the pain of watching me take it out of the box. There's no need to show you that. What you need to know is what's sitting here. Now, I suggest having something like this to hang it on while you work on it, whether it's 2 2x4s clamped onto a bench, secured very well, so you can work at a working height instead of trying to work on the ground. Also, I'll be showing you that lift I made to hold these, so it helped me guide it on there. They sell these lifts. They're more money than what I paid to do this one. In the last video, right prior to this, also in the description but down below, if you click on it after you watch this full video though. Or go click on it and then come back to this video. I don't care, whichever way you want to do it. But I made a lift for under $100. I will leave the links in this video as well to the parts used. I changed out a few things on it and made it better. Okay, one thing, the pump, the hydraulic jack that's on it. Let's get back to this. So when you got it unboxed, there's several bags of bolts and hardware and stuff like that. We're going to show you where all that goes. First, there's a bolt this big. Goes on this. And I'm not sure what he called this. I call it a counter rotational skeg. But it's something else. It's not called that. It's designed to be able to put in there and turn this. Like if you have power steering, you leave this straight. If you don't have power steering, I turn this full rotation to one side on my particular boat because at high speeds, it neutralizes the pull to the right on the steering wheel. So first thing you have is this guy right here. And we're going to go ahead and put some grease on it and stick it right in the front hole. Or is it the back hole? I don't remember. It's the back one. We're going to put some, this is a nice plated bolt, but we're going to put some marine grade grease on here and stick it right there in that back hole. That sits there for now. You'll see why in a little while. The other thing, there's a tube that comes in a kit and all your hardware. This is a guide tube to help guide the copper shaft that's coming out of the upper gearbox down into here, get it lined up. I put some marine grease down in here too to help the shaft slide in easier. There's also a little spline right up front here. I'm gonna get you up close real quick for a second. The little spline right there, we want to coat that in some grease as well. And when you think you have enough grease on these splines, put a little more. Doesn't hurt it. So this will go right here. And like I said in the other video, or this video, or anywhere in between, this is forward, this is neutral, or somewhere in the middle is neutral, then reverse. So we're in forward right there. But we don't have to put this on just yet. This can go on there in just a minute. Now that we've got grease here, grease in here, our bolt greased up, we also installed this stud right here. Now we're ready to put the grease on the spline up here for your drive. There again, I don't think you can use too much. Any grease that you put on all these splines, including your prop, shaft is all going to help you disassemble it in the future when you have to service it. Because as you guys know, these water pumps do not last forever. We've got this all prepared now. This all looks pretty good. And we want to make sure there's no debris on this surface here. Let's start off clean. Let's keep it clean. Another very important part on it, you got to be careful of right here. Now this is the reason why you fill oil from the bottom, because there's a hole up at the top of the gearbox and there's a hole at the bottom, and this is the only hole that's between the top and the bottom. So people have made the mistake of filling it up from the top and think, oh, it's full. Well, it's going to go real slow through this hole, so it won't be full. And then all you'll fill up basically is the bottom gearbox eventually, and the top of gearbox will burn up. So make sure this quad ring, now it comes from the factory, glued in. They've got it glued down in there pretty solid. If you ever service it in the future, I always like to put a little grease on there to hold it in place while I put the top gearbox back on. What you're gonna find is it goes down about yay far. Then you wanna grab this shaft and rotate it. See if it'll work for me. Shouldn't have to rotate it much. If it's where it belongs. What's going on here? Oh. There we go. So it's down about 1 inch up right now. I'm on all the studs. Bam-a-lam. I almost dropped all the way down. One thing I forgot to do, I want to put a little grease. There's 2 little locator pins here. I need just a little grease on them. There she goes. That grease actually helped it go down on those little pins. You might have to fiddle with it a little bit. It is nice to have a spotter. Somebody that can look up in there with a flashlight and actually see that copper tube go down inside. Everything's pretty rigid in there, and if you go down pretty straight, it lines up really well. But an extra person doesn't hurt at all. But it's there again, it can be done by itself, by yourself. Now we can start installing. There's one nut there, right up front on top. There are studs that come in from the side here, and you're actually gonna have to lift back up a little bit to get these nuts started. All right, you got your front nut here, you got your 2 on the side. These 2 can be a little bit troublesome down here because you can't have it fully seated and get the nuts on there. So that's just kind of the way it is. But once you get those started, wind them down far enough that the whole thing will seat. Be careful not to tighten this nut or the back bolt too soon if these aren't down far enough, because you can put a lot of pressure on this and that wouldn't be good. There are 2 more of the same nuts down here on the bottom. So you got 2 on the bottom right under here, the same nut that's here, and on the front. And then you've got the one socket head coming from the bottom, which takes a, what is that? It's millimeter. It's like 8 millimeter from the bottom. And also I believe this is an 8 millimeter here. Nope, that's a little bigger. I think that's 10 millimeter. We're gonna finish tightening up everything here, and we get these bottom ones. I got the front 3 snug, not torqued completely, but snugged. I believe what I watched on the SEI video, I think it was 30 or 35 foot-pounds to tighten these down to. And right now I'm just getting them all snug, and then I'll properly torque it. All right, let's do a quick recap on what we've done so far. We've got the gearbox top put back on the bottom. We've got all the bolts torqued down. Remember, there is one socket head, takes 8mm in the back, 2 nuts, and then there's 3 5/8 nuts that go on these studs in the front. We've got our O-rings put on the shaft here. We've got our shaft greased. I actually pumped some more grease in the joints just in case, you know. It's one of those things that's just a pet peeve of mine. I'm assuming it was put together with grease, but take nothing for granted. I've also got this O-ring kind of glued on here with some grease as well. All that's left to do is fill it up with gear oil. Now I'm going to fill this up with the SEI gear lube. And you got to pump it in from the bottom like I said earlier. We're going to go ahead and remove the upper plug here. The gasket came out with it, so we'll set that right there. The lower plug is right down here. The plug came out with it. The lower plug has a little magnet on it, which is nice. That's going to catch any of the metal particulates that, you know, during break-in for sure, that will, you know, a little bit of metal shed, it'll catch it. Now SEI sells this gear pump kit along with our gear lube and pump kit, which comes with 2 filters, 2 quarts of oil, gear oil, and a pump. And this is actually a pretty nice little setup here because they got a screw in. I like this a lot compared to what I have been using. You can just screw this right in there. The other one I've got, you just hold it up against it and pump your oil in. This one's screwed in. And it's got a little O-ring on it to seal it. This will take a little over 2 quarts. This will take a little over 1 quart of oil. And this is nice because you don't have to wrestle and hold that. Oh, this is some, look at that, that's green, baby. I'm so used to using clear stuff. If I had one suggestion, I would get a pump that does a little more volume. That'd be the only feedback. It's pumping, but I'm gonna be here a minute. There it is, it's running out now. That's what we want to see. Oh. So once she's full running out of the top, go ahead and put your upper plug back in. Leave the bottom piece connected. Once you've got the top sealed off, now it's time to pull the bottom one off. And you are going to lose a little bit here, so have it ready that you can go ahead and stuff this right in. There's other people that use Vaseline to plug the hole temporarily. You don't lose enough if you're, you know, somewhat coordinated here. We'll see how coordinated I am, I guess. You literally don't even lose a teaspoon doing that. And that's just fine, not gonna hurt a thing. We'll go ahead and seal that one off. Wipe off the oil. This thing's ready to install. Awesome. Now that this is ready to install, I'm going to go ahead and transfer it to this little stand they built. That's got hydraulics. A 4-ton hydraulic jack there, which is way more than it needs, but it's, you know, what was available. We're going to transfer this to it. Now there's some of you that may be laughing saying, why'd you go to all the trouble to build this? Well, it's gonna make life a lot easier here in just a minute, and you'll see why. The next order of business is to get the gasket. This got an O-ring right here. Boom. We'll take that off because we got a new O-ring. Take a gasket scraper, run around here, make sure you get all the old gasket off because you want this to seal up. My old gasket came off pretty darn clean. Thing we're gonna do is wipe down the face, you know, just to make sure she's good and clean. We're gonna put more grease on these areas here for the shifter. I'm gonna put grease inside here. This is just gonna help prevent that O-ring that we put on that big diameter O-ring from catching and dragging, so it just slides in there. Doesn't fold over or wrap around itself, and we need this to seal up against that face in there. This keeps the water out of this area. Then we're gonna put some more grease around this O-ring surface here to hold the new O-ring in place. Then we'll be ready to go back together. Now something I've heard a few of you talk about is you put a little grease on your gaskets, a little bit. And when you go to take it apart again, it doesn't impact how it seals or does its job, but it definitely makes the gasket let go a little bit easier next time you have to service something. So this time we're going to give that a try. Now in this particular with the SE106, this has an extra O-ring thing here. It doesn't matter. It's not being used. I do kind of like the grease on that surface just for the simple fact it's kind of holding that gasket right there tight against it. I'm going to go ahead and take the time and effort just to kind of put a little more on here. Some of you might be cringing at what I'm doing, but you know, when I pull this off next year maybe, or 2 years from now, or 3 years from now, I'll let you know how it did. Because this channel will still be around. We'll still be doing and learning. Uh-oh. I hear Babalance. Hope somebody's not having their worst day. We're going to put grease on this little dew flopper here. That's going to hold that straight up and down. We're ready to slide our gearbox on. Oh, this is exciting, exciting stuff, guys. And I'm gonna wheel in the new SE106. I think I need to jack the front of the boat up. I'm at the max height right now with my little platform here. Raise the front of the boat up a little bit more. I think I'm to the point that I can actually lower it some. Well, here's the beauty of this thing is I can guide this in now. Oh, come on. I can just roll this forward. I don't have to have 4 hands to make this happen. Make sure that's straight up and down. So we actually got time to, you know, just look at some stuff. We can make sure we don't damage that seal. Boy, this sure making life a lot easier. I'm gonna lower this down just a little bit more. Or maybe it needs to go up. Oh yeah, we need to go up. Easy peasy, we can go up. We can still wiggle this too, that's no problem. I just need to rotate the prop shaft a little bit to get the splines to line up. And then bammo. Come on, get on there the rest of the way. We're gonna go ahead and torque these down as well. These I'm doing to 35 foot-pounds myself. Now we're gonna put the prop on. Gonna grease up the spline. Hey, this is a better design. Last piece we had to put on was this here. And like I said, you don't need one of these if you have, just put it straight if you got power steering, because power steering does all the work for you. Give that a snuggin'. Nice thing about this one, it's designed, it misses my prop. Nice. I don't have to grind on that one. Well, folks, I hope you found this episode informative and helpful and enjoyable to watch. I had a good time making it. I just want to thank SEI Marine for partnering up with me, providing me some equipment to put on my boat. Looks to me like it's some pretty darn good stuff. And don't be afraid to go online. Shop SEI.net. They've got a catalog that's, I mean, they've got this many parts, guys. I'm talking thousands and thousands of things to choose from. I appreciate them so much for helping me out with this project. I think it's been a good partnership so far, absolutely for sure. You might have noticed I didn't hook up the hydraulic lift cylinders yet on the completed install. That's because that's what I'm getting ready to attack next. That trim has never held the outdrive up, and it's never held trim when I'm on the water since I've had the boat. And that's simply because, you know, it's 1976. Do the math. The O-rings and the seals in that hydraulic pump are old. Old. And while they're not as old as me, I'm holding up much better than they are right now, I think. Some days, maybe not. But yeah, that thing pumps water good. We fired it up, brought it all the way up to temperature. Actually, I couldn't get it up to 150. It's pumping enough water through the system. The thermostat's opened up, and it's doing everything it's supposed to do. And put it into gear and put it in reverse, forward, shifts fine. I need to do a little adjustment on reverse because I'm actually hitting reverse later than I should be. It's starting to come up on RPM right before it shifts into gear, and that's not good. It should be shifting in when it's at idle. That's not an outdrive problem. That is a shift cable problem. And with a slight adjustment, I can bring that right in and she'll be ready to go for the summer. Well, you guys witnessed the first firing up of the season after this thing's been sitting out in the shed stored all winter. And everything seems to be functioning great. It didn't turn over too much. You know, hit the key once, roll it over a few times, hit the key again, roll it over a little bit. You know, 10 seconds and the thing's running. 10 seconds seems like forever when you're cranking though. But it just does like it always does. That old 2.5 liter Merc Cruiser, just like all of them that I work on when I'm done with them, they hum and they sing and they perform like a fine sewing machine. This outdrive is going to add to the fun, the pleasure, and the performance of this boat, no doubt, especially when I put the trim stuff on it. So stay tuned for upcoming videos from sponsored by SEI for putting on a trim pump, new lift cylinders, and I ain't kidding you, these lift cylinders, I'll show you. These lift cylinders are no joke. These things here are probably almost twice as big around, twice as big an eyelet here than the original has, which is not a bad thing. That's going to be awesome. Heavy, flipping duty for sure, but it's getting new lift cylinders, new stainless lines, and like I said, a new pump and some new bushings and new pins. I mean, it's all going to be new except for the gimbal, and the gimbal's just fine. Well, what else is there besides what we've covered today? The lift stand made life so much easier. I've wrestled several of those on by hand out in the yard in the grass and stuff. Having that thing on rollers and being able to ease it up in there it brings a lot of confidence that you didn't damage any O-rings, any seals, anything like that. It just, baby just went together. Now this one fit a little tight. It's not bad. But went in there, I had to pull it down the last little bit because it was really tight, but that's okay. Take this thing in and out a couple times over the next 10 years, it'll be awesome. I got so used to this old one, just flop it in there, you know. But we're gonna drain the oil on this old one in an upcoming video just to see if there's any water in it. I'm letting it sit right now upright, but I would have a little bit of water in there every year, just a little bit, not much in the gear case. But so the seals are starting to go on it for sure, and they should. I mean, they're also from 1976 as well. So this one here is going to last a whole lot longer, I hope. The other thing I noticed is these things, I do believe, have a 3-year warranty. So when you buy one of these and put it on your boat, it has a 3-year warranty. That's the cool part about it. If you do anything to it, or you know something happens to it, it seizes up. I think from what I've heard from other people that have SEI equipment, they're very good to work with when it comes to warranty and warrantying the stern drives. But I don't see, it looks like a pretty quality piece. I don't think I'm gonna have any problems with it at all. Other than me doing it twice, when I forgot to put that little shifter paw in there, that was my bad. No fault but my own. Wasn't paying attention, you know, I don't do these every day, so, but yeah, this is very easy. I hope you guys get the courage to do your own eventually. Now, I want to talk about price with these. The price of these things, if you go online and look at them, the price of these are around, depending on what model you buy, there's a 106, a 116, you know, they vary. This one, I believe, comes in around $1,800. As what everything you saw there comes in at $1,800. If you go looking at all the others out there, you're going to be paying over, you know, close to $3 grand for the same thing from Mercruiser or another brand. So SEI is a very economical way to go to keep your old boat going. You can do what I've done in the past and buy several old boats and try to find you a good gear outdrive. And then there again, it's old. It's not new anymore. And this stuff's new. Seals are new. Oil is fresh now. Everything's new on it. So it should last a long time. Anyway, enough of me rambling. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please come back for the next video and the next video. And don't forget to subscribe, give a thumbs up, share with as many people as you can. I really appreciate that. The channel is growing and going. We're going to continue to bring you more new stuff. I shouldn't say new stuff, new content. Some new stuff and some new content as well. I'm excited to get out there. You guys have really responded well to that 1987 or 6 Alumacraft. I'm trying to remember now. With the big dent in it. And somebody put up a name out there I really liked. It was called the Wrinkle, or the Big Wrinkle, just the Wrinkle, you know. But I've got some good comments from a guy that worked for Boeing for a lot of years and was giving me some advice on some aluminum. He says, you're going to be better cutting it out and welding in a new patch. Says it's going to crack. You can't straighten it out. There's people that know a lot more than I do. Guarantee. But I say challenge accepted. You don't know what lengths I'm willing to go to get this thing pulled back up into straightness, reshape it. I think I can pull it off without cutting and welding very much at all. So you're gonna have to keep checking in with me. We got to get this boat on the water first, and then we got that boat to work on next. And plus we got some outboards to put on the good enough boat and get out there in the water and test them. We got a lot of things coming up. We got a very busy summer, and I'm trying to put out as many videos as I can for you guys, keep you guys entertained, and let's just keep growing this channel and make it something we can all be proud of, that we all worked on together. And thank you guys for all your support. You don't understand how much leaving comments and thumbs up supports the channel. It supports it quite a bit. I'm in the process of researching and looking for creating a website, a merchandising website. So eventually when I have merch, That'll be another way you guys can support the channel. I'm not asking for donations at all. I want to earn it. I want to earn it 110%. I want to be able to create merch, sell you guys merch, use that money to grow the channel and keep growing the channel and keep having AdSense provide me some income as well. All right, guys, enough said. This is Michael saying if it ain't broke, fix it till it is. And we'll see you on the next video. And, you know, be good to one another out there. You know, that's all we ask. Treat each other how you want to be treated. How hard is that? And road rage. Don't.